Hello. Today I have a July book haul because last month I got 19 new books for my shelves. That is definitely one of the largest hauls that I've had in a while. But the cool thing is, a lot of these books came from different places. About 11 of them came from one of my friends who is also a huge reader. Sometimes when I guess she's like going through her books and seeing what she wants to unhaul or doesn't want to read anymore or just have anymore, she will send me a picture and she'll just say, "Hey, I don't want these. Do you want any of them?" And most of the time I say, "Yes, yes, I do want some more books for my shelves." And I think this time around, I'm pretty sure she sent me the picture and I was like, "I would like all of those books." So that is why I got most of those books from her. And then another 5 books out of the 19 came from a little free library that I go to quite often. And then the last 4 books were actual purchases that I made or that my husband bought for me. So they all came from different places. I think that's really cool. And I think I'll start with the book purchases first and then the little free library ones because they're like the smaller ones of the bunch. And honestly, I don't know if I will read the summary for each book because it takes me such a long time to read the summaries, and I don't know why. When I'm just reading it on my own, I can go through it pretty quickly. But when I'm reading it out loud, I feel like I am just so slow. So I don't know how I will describe each book or if I will just pick out a few words that stand out for me from each book. I have no idea, but I read those slow. I don't want to read those today because that is going to be a very long video. So I guess I'll just kind of feel out how I want to talk about each book. Now, when it comes to the book purchases, I've mentioned these first two in like other videos that I made. And the first out of the first 4 purchases is Funerals Are for the Living by Sammy Ellis. I mentioned this book in my July wrap up August TBR video. I want to read this book this month in August. I haven't started it yet, but that's okay because today is August 5th. So I have like a lot of time to get to this one. I'm really excited to read this book and my husband was the one who bought me this. Now, with these next 3 books that I'm going to show, I bought them all at a bookstore. I hung out with like a book friend that I've had on Instagram for a while. We went to this bookstore, and I'm pretty sure this bookstore might be like a used secondhand bookstore because a lot of the books I've noticed had like small tears and rips here and there throughout like the book covers. And I tried to tape down what I could on 2 out of the 3 books that I have because some just had really long tears that I know if I snagged it on something, it was just going to rip the whole thing off. So if you see any like tape on some of these books, it's just a tear. I wanted to keep them nice, so I decided to just tape them down. Oh, and also a cool thing about the 3 books that I bought, it actually stayed within my monthly book budget. So that's also just like a nice bonus that I had for July. The first book that I got at that bookstore, I've mentioned before, it's called The Star and the Strange Moon by Constance Sayers. I mentioned this book in like my social media and influencers in books video that I made a few weeks ago. I haven't read this yet. I don't know when I'm going to, but I really loved the summary. I think it sounds interesting, so I'm really excited to get to this book. Book number 2, I have actually seen on Bookstagram, so I was even more excited when I saw this at the bookstore, and that is The Undead Truth of Us by Brittany S. Lewis. So I really love sunflowers. I think they're so pretty. So when I saw this book on Bookstagram, I immediately knew that I wanted to read it. I just love how they look and how they're covering the girl on the cover. I don't know if she's the main character or not, but I guess that's something I will figure out once I read this book. A few words that stick out to me in the summary, which I did read the summary of this book, but for the sake of this video, I see zombie, I see untimely death, I see magic in here, love, surrealist journey of grief, which really sold me because I have been absolutely loving books surrounding grief. So just the fact that this book has zombies and magic and grief in here, all along with the sunflowers on the cover, I am really excited to get to this one too. Now, with book number 3, I hung out with my book friend and she's talked about this book series before, and she's talked about the TV adaptation of this book series before. I've seen like clips of it over on Instagram and I've seen people talking about it over on BookTube, like the book series. So I was like, I do feel interested in reading the series and watching the TV show, but there's so many books and there's so many seasons that I was like, I have no idea when I would even get to this series. But then when we went to the bookstore, She bought, I think, book number 9 because I think book number 10 is being written right now. And I was like, oh, there's no book number 1. Maybe that's like not a sign that I should start it yet. But then we turned to like another shelf and I was like, oh, book number 1 is like right there. So I bought the first book in this series, and that is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I just looked up the author, and that's how they're pronouncing their last name. So I have no idea when I will read this monster of a book, but I kind of feel excited to start this because, again, I've seen this all over BookTube, all over Bookstagram, and she told me some of like the backstory of this series, I guess, how like it's been going on for so long and how the actors are like excited to reach the end of it. This will be a really exciting series that I will start. I just don't know when I will start this, but I guess there's really no rush because all of the TV seasons will be out at some point, and I guess I will have all the time in the world to read the series and then watch the show. Now, I want to show all of the books that I got at the Little Free Library. And this first book I want to show, it kind of reminds me of theme music by T. Marie Vanderlee. I loved that book. It's one of my favorite books. It's actually on this shelf right here. You just can't see it because it's like more in this corner. And the first book that I got from the Little Free Library is called Out of the Ashes by Kara Thomas. I think the owner of the Little Free Library that I go to either loves Kara Thomas or somebody who also passes by that Little Free Library also loves Kara Thomas, because the first time that I saw that Little Free Library, I also got, I think, 1 or 2 books. And I didn't realize it until I came home with this book and I was putting it somewhere on my bookshelves. And I was like, oh, when I first went to the Little Free Library, I got another book by Kara Thomas, and that book was Lost to Dune Road. I just thought it was funny and just such a coincidence that when I first went to that library, I got Lost to Dune Road, and then I went back again and I got this next book. But it does remind me of theme music by T. Marie Vanderlee because there is a a child to adults whose family was unalived and they have to go back to their hometown for some reason. And it just talks about the case. And then I guess we learn like secrets about the crime that we didn't know before. So I'm excited to get to this one. With the last 4 books from the Little Free Library, I'm saying that way too much, I'm sorry. But the last 4 books of the Little Free Library, I ended up taking them because when I opened the door, they were all held together by like a rubber band. So I was like, well, they're all like put together. I have to take them all because it wouldn't make sense to just take one or like 1 and 2. So I took all these 4 books because they're part of a series. And that is this one here called Filthy Rich Vampires by Geneva Lee. I've never heard of this book series before. I sent a picture to like my book friends in our Discord saying like, "Oh, I got all these books at a Little Free Library. Has anyone heard of these books? It's a series." And they all said they've never heard of it, so they want to know what I think of these books once I read them. And it's funny that I got these books when I did because I was on YouTube, as I usually always am, and I saw a video of someone talking about these books. So I was like, ooh, okay, that's pretty good timing. And I want to read at least the first book or 2 in this series and then watch that person's video about these books. The spark notes for this book, there is a wealthy vampire in here. He needs to find a wife. There is another woman in here who I'm not sure if she's a vampire. Well, I guess not because she's the last person that he should ever fall in love with. Their desire is forbidden. There's secrets in here. I think this will be a fun read. I really like the covers for this book. I really like the covers for this book series too. I think the flowers are super pretty, and I'm really curious to see what that booktuber said about these books. I don't know why I keep grabbing book series to read when I'm in the middle of quite a few at the moment, and I don't know when I want to start another new series. But I mean, all of the ones that I have been getting and all of the series that I have been starting have been really fun ones and interesting. So I guess it's okay. So these are the last of the little free library books that I got. So moving on to the huge stack of books that I got from my really good friend. 2 of those books are part of a series, and it's book number 2 and book number 3. So now I need to go out and get book number 1. That is the Holly Jackson series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure I had book number 1 at some point, but I wasn't like getting to it. So I decided to give that book to someone else. Had I known I was going to get books number 2 and 3, I would have just kept book number 1. but that's okay. I will just have to go out and get book number one to complete the series. I've heard a lot of good things about this, and surprisingly, for as long as this book series has been out, I've seen people talk about it and I've seen people's like thoughts about it and how they really enjoy it. But what's surprising is that I have never seen any single spoiler for this book. So I feel like that's kind of impressive because I feel like at this point I would have known something about this book series or the characters or what happens, but I know absolutely nothing. And I think it's really fun to see a book series as popular as this one, but not know anything about it. I think that's pretty cool. So I am really excited to get this series at some point as well, and to also add it to my never ending log of series that I'm trying to read. The next book that came from my friend is called Simply Perfect by Mary Balog. I feel like I've heard people pronounce the last name as Balog, so hopefully that's correct. I am fond of mass market books, and I'm pretty sure there was an article some time ago that came out saying that mass market books were no longer going to be produced or something. I'll have to find that article again and I'll have to see if there's any like update to that production or not. And some spark notes about this book here is there is a school for girls, and I guess the headmistress that's running it, I guess she doesn't want to be in love, but then someone comes along. He seems to be like an aristocrat, and maybe she doesn't feel like she belongs in his world. But now I see an arranged marriage and breaking rules when it comes to love. So this is going to be super fun too. So the next book I got from my friend is called Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. And when I read this, I thought this also probably would have been a good addition for my social media and influencers book video because on the back, there is two people who used to be classmates. One of them turns out to be like a movie star who is also like the celebrity crush of like the girl, it seems. And now we're fast forwarding like 10 years. There's a divorce, there's therapy, someone is in Los Angeles to pursue their dreams. A PR team has to get involved. There's supposed to be another interview between the two, but someone doesn't want to because I guess of like all of the history that they have together and how a lot of it is not good or something. So, whatever this book holds, I'm excited to read. Also, it's just like so brightly pink and red. When I opened the box, I feel like I saw this book immediately because of just how bright all of the colors are. So, this is going to be a fun read. So, with this next book, I'm pretty sure I saw my friend either post about this book on her Bookstagram or she talked to me about this book. So, either way, I know I saw this book from her. So, it was nice that I got to have a turn with it. And that is Just Our Luck by Denise Williams. So, in the back, there is somebody who is feeling kind of directionless because they're bouncing from job to job. They buy a lottery ticket, and then there's a man who wants to be a doctor but can't be a doctor. So now he's running his family's bakery. The two meet. She leaves really quickly, but I guess her lottery ticket goes like flying out of her pocket. So he tries to give it back to her. That interaction of him giving her lottery ticket back goes viral on social media. So they fake a relationship. And even after they win, it seems like they still want to be together. So that is really, really sweet. So I'm really excited with this next book because my friend left all of her tabs in this book. She did ask me if I would want her to remove all of these, but I said no because I think it would be really fun and sweet to see all of the things that she tabbed while reading this book. And I also said no because I feel like that's just unnecessary to like go through every single page and remove the tab. Dream On, Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake. And it seems like I'm attracting a lot of books that are either set in like Hollywood or have actors in them because this book also does. So there's someone who is a student because they want to be they want to be a costume designer. So that's pretty different because usually it's like actors or influencers. They want to be a costume designer in Hollywood, but an accident makes them go back to their small hometown. Okay, we're fast forwarding like 12 years. They're still at their small hometown. A movie star, I think, goes to that hometown for like a movie they're going to film. And this movie star has like famous rock icons for parents. And it seems like a romance between someone who lives in a small town and someone who comes from like the big city. So I think that's going to be super cute to read. I kind of like this last line. It says, before long, however, reality hits them, and both women must decide if the spark between them can fan the flames of their individual dreams or if it will extinguish their light. So I think this could be something where maybe someone doesn't want to leave their small town, or they do but they want to do something else that doesn't align with like the movie star, and like maybe long distance is going to be a problem for them. I don't know. So I'm excited to find out what that means for these two in Dream On, Ramona Riley. I hadn't realized how many pink books that she sent me until I grabbed this next one, which is called Undead and Uneasy by Mary Janice Davidson. And I looked this up. It's actually book number 6 in a series. I don't think I can read all of them as standalones. I didn't look too much into that, but I think I do have to start from book number 1. And this sounds kind of really fun because a lot of the books just seem really like they all sound really unique. And for this Sparks Notes version here, there's a vampire queen who's about to get married. She has friends that are human. She has friends that are ghosts and werewolves. Her fiance is also a vampire. He disappears. I guess she has to go find him now. And now I'm wondering what this book has in store, because the last line for this one says, "What happens next will shake the foundation of the vampire world forever in the best selling series that breathes new life into conventional vampire lore." And I'm just noticing the graveyard here. So, with these next two books that she sent me, if you can guess it, they are also part of a series. Well, actually, I don't know if they're a series or if they're just a duology, but the next two are by Melissa de la Cruz. The first book is called The Queen's Assassin, and book number 2 is called The Queen's Secret. I'm pretty sure when I looked it up, this says it was a young adult fantasy. I've never seen these books before. I don't think I've heard of this author either. And for book number 1, there seems to be a person who is the kingdom's deadliest weapon. He's bound to somebody by magic. There's a surprise attack. There's attraction to each other. There's war, obviously, of course. I don't know if at the top of my head if I've read a YA fantasy recently. I think it's just really hot in here that like I'm running out of brain cells. And I guess just out of curiosity, looking at the sequel, there is, I think, question of somebody's birthright to being the queen, as well as question of their marriage to somebody. And then they have to like flee the castle because of some horrific set of magical attacks, of course. There's dark forces going on, all of the things that are typically found in a YA fantasy novel. So these are going to be fun to read too. Everything's going to be fun to read. What am I saying? We have 2 books left in this haul. This next book that my friend sent me is called The Flight Girls by Noelle Salazar. And on the back, actually, I'm lying, it's on the front flap. So the setting is 1941. There is a girl who wants to learn how to fly. She signed up for military training and being a pilot. And because she's so busy with being a pilot, she doesn't want to get romantically involved with anyone. But then she meets a lieutenant. Pearl Harbor is mentioned in here, and there's something called the Women Air Force Service Pilots Program. I think that lieutenant goes missing, so that's unfortunate. So she has to like hold down the line for him. And the last line here says, "Shining a light on a little known piece of history, The Flight Girls is a sweeping portrayal of women's fearlessness in the face of adversity and the power of friendship to make us soar." That's really sweet. And considering all of the other books that my friend sent me, I'm surprised she's either read this one or had this one, because she is like a huge romance person. But I know recently she's been trying to like dip her toes into other genres. So I actually think I want to ask her about this one, because it's not like any of the books that she sent me, because I got a lot of romance books from her. But this one, it sounds really interesting. It just wasn't a book that I was expecting her to have. And I guess this novel is also inspired by the real female pilots during World War II. And I really like the cover too. I feel like that's definitely something that you would see in a history textbook. So I really like the sound of this. The very last book that I have from my friend, I also didn't expect it to be a book that she owns, because, well, 50-50, because on one hand, it seems to be like a murder mystery going on. So that's something that I don't think she often reads. But then on the other hand, it does seem to be set in Oregon. And I know she really loves venturing to like Oregon and all of its surrounding states. So it's kind of a 50-50. And that last book is called Astoria Steak Deluxe, a mystery by Jim Hallow. I didn't find videos of this author's last name, so I'm hoping I'm saying it correctly. And it actually isn't super long on the back, so I think I will just read this one. This mystery is set in present day Astoria, Oregon, a charming historical small town perched on hills overlooking the mighty Columbia River. Astoria balances on a rugged peninsula, surrounded by water on 3 sides. with Victorian houses clinging to steep streets, very much like San Francisco without all of the Californians. A new and daring restaurant opens in Astoria, a steakhouse, but much more than that. More glamour, more lavish, more expensive. A steak deluxe. Steak deluxe has its share of problems: a tyrannical chef, questionable investors, and the issues that come with running a large high end restaurant, and that's before the murders. So this sounds really fun, and it also isn't a super long book either. This is 279 pages, so I feel like I can definitely knock this book out. The text is huge. Well, at least for me, the text is pretty huge. So considering the huge text as well as the book only being 279 pages, I feel like this is something that I can read through pretty fast. I mean, it does sound really fun. And I'm wondering if my friend did read this book, because if so, I would probably bump this up on my August TBR so that way she and I can talk about it. That was the very last book. We made it to the end of this very, very long and large book haul. I'm very grateful for all of the books that I have. I love that my friend sends me books, and I'm really grateful that she does. So that is the end of my July haul. I don't have any more, I promise. And also, because it's getting hot for me, I would love to know what book you purchased in July, or if there is a new release coming out in August that you're really excited about, or how you like to store all of your books, whether on shelves or elsewhere. Thank you so much for listening to me and for seeing all of the books that I got recently. I hope that I see you next time.